Welcome, 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 my friends. And thank you for taking some time during this blessed Samhain day. The sun's coming out, so we hope we won't keep you here too long. We have reached a quorum. I'm Beth Sperry. I'm the president right now of our fellowship. I now call the 2021 annual meeting to order. Reverend Eric will light our chalice.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our chalice lighting today is by UUFoM. Community is the spirit, the guiding light of the tribe, whereby people come together in order to fill a specific purpose, to help others fulfill their purpose, and to take care of one another.
And Sasha will now read our covenant.
Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Midland Covenantal Agreement. We will treat each other with care and respect, engage in direct communication with involved parties, respect each other's roles, speak from our own experience, show respect for our sacred space. We will listen to each other fully and actively, listen deeply, assume good intent, say only what is truthful, thoughtful, and necessary. We will create a beloved community, consider best outcomes for all in dealing with each other, ask forgiveness, seek repair, and begin again in love.
Thank you, Sasha, for setting the stage for us. I'd like now to introduce Sarah Clave. Can we have Sarah spotlighted? So Sarah can wave. Sarah's going to be, as usual, our parliamentarian, so that if any procedural questions come up during the meeting, Sarah can help us untangle them. Thank you, Sarah.
We have quorum.
We have a quorum.
52. We needed 31. We have 52. Woo!
Okay.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thanks for making that official during the open meeting part. Okay. We are now going to have first the ministry team reports. And first we will hear from Reverend Eric, who will give us his minister's report.
So I don't need to tell you all that this past year has been a hard one. Adapting and coping to the pandemic has been exhausting for everyone, and it's been difficult to stay connected, especially with our elders and our families with kids. The pandemic has taken some of the wind out of our sails in the past year. And yet, here we are, just over the threshold of holding multi-platform worship and religious education on Sundays, and pledge commitments remain strong. The COVID-19 Task Force and Board of Directors continue to watch for indicators that it will be safe for us to resume activities in the building. Thank you to the members of the board for taking steps to safeguard our most vulnerable. From the beginning of my time with you, I've said that we are by nature and degrees relational and resilient, that it is in our nature to care for one another. We proved this again this year by individual actions and by the ongoing work of our ministry teams. Thank you to members of the pastoral care team for their love. Thank you to our worship team and many volunteers for continuing to adapt to changing conditions. Thank you to our engagement team for all their attempts to keep us connected. Thank you to our religious education team and our social justice team, leaders, for their perseverance. I'm grateful to our staff members, our professional staff who helped us endure another year of the pandemic while at the same time trying to do so themselves. We held my ordination and installation online a year ago, but we have yet to celebrate those in person. I still am excited and hopeful for the coming year. In contrast to the past year of disorientation, disconnection, and isolation, I ask everyone to dedicate themselves this year to finding our way together. Let's pull together to reorient, reacquaint, and reconnect with every aspect of congregational life. I've asked every committee, ministry team, and the board to make this happen, and I ask you members to do so as well. While it has been another challenging year for the fellowship, I remain grateful for your dedication, generosity, love, and care for one another and our spiritual home. Blessings to you all.
Thank you so much, Reverend Eric, and thank you for everything, just everything. All right, we are now going to hear from Christina Van Pooker, who will give the report from the Committee on Ministry.
Hello, everyone. Members of the Committee on Ministry other than myself are Chris Nakamura, Kathy French, Jacob Gettler, and Vicki Reidelberger. The mission of the Committee on Ministry is to promote the well-being of the congregation's total ministry. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Midland's Board of Directors charged the Committee on Ministry to monitor, assess, and provide feedback about the ministry of UUFoM to the minister, the Board of Directors, and the Unitarian Universalist Association. We have been doing this through both active and passive involvement with the congregation. We just completed the preliminary fellowship evaluation form for 2021, and we are currently working on creating a procedures document for our group. The first report on the well-being of the congregation was sent to the board in July of 2021, and the next one will be submitted towards the end of this year, beginning of next year. So that's what we have in the works right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Originally, Denise Reiling was going to be with us to give us the report from the newly renamed social justice team, but she has some family commitments that make her unable to join us. But I urge you to read this report. It's so clearly lays out the new direction with where we're going with what used to be called the Love Team. And I think it's a really moving document, actually. So please read it. All right, on to Governance Committee reports. And please allow me to read my president's report. It's kind of long, but I really wanted to acknowledge all the work that everybody did this past year. Well, we are not where we hope to be at the end of October 2021. Unmasked, singing together, and hugging freely. But we are still here. Still together in the work of making the world a kinder, more equitable place. Being part of a UU community requires us to look out for each other as we take care of our own needs. The people in this fellowship have done just that. We masked up. Those who were able got vaccinated. We stayed connected to each other as best we could, virtually and in person. We kept coming to Sunday services on Zoom and welcomed new people from all over the country to our services. The ministries continued to minister. The worship team created miracles every Sunday. We will never be able to thank them and the tech team enough for the love and hard work they put in over the past year as we worked toward making our multi-platform services a reality. Sunday services are still a work in progress, but it's glorious for those of us who are able to be back in the sanctuary. The Endowment Committee managed our money brilliantly and contributed to several big projects. The Finance Committee continued to be impeccable stewards of our finances. With the help of dedicated volunteers, the Building and Grounds Committee and Finance Committee made magic happen. We received a $20,000 grant from the Grace A. Dow Foundation, which enabled us to finish our roof work. We bought 3 much needed new furnaces at an astonishingly low price. Our grounds were lovingly cared for by volunteers. We have a fabulous new playground. The new Safer Playground is also a gift to our community, offering the kids from Charter Square a fun place to play. Another gift to our wider community is the Little Free Library created by Judith Hill. We held our second Zoom auction and raised a bunch of money. Shayna Barth and our RE team provided opportunities for our young people to stay connected to each other and to our faith. Our COVID-19 task force offered knowledgeable advice to the board as we made, often day by day, decisions on how to best serve our community safely. The engagement team sprang into action to provide greeters for our in-person services. Sandy Hay kept the music flowing with our virtual choir. And now we're singing together again with Andrew Schultz. Our staff went so far beyond the scope of their duties that sometimes we lost sight of them. But we do see you and are deeply grateful. The fact that we couldn't open our doors for service until September gave us the opportunity to find new ways of connecting. By late spring, with vaccines readily available and the number of local cases declining, the longing to be together in person was profound. Reverend Eric and the board were honored to host listening sessions. And we are grateful for those who came and offered so much. The dialogues were honest, respectful, and moving. We brainstormed ideas for outside summer activities, some of which came to fruition. We drummed together, thank you engagement team. We made stepping stones, we toured bountiful UU gardens, and I personally loved the Sunday picnics and hope to bring them back next summer. It was a joy to just hang out with friends of all ages on our grounds. Throughout all the turbulence and heartache of the past year, Reverend Eric brought joy, clarity, love, and hope to all of us. Something is working. Our side with love signal seems to be strong. New people are coming in our doors. Young families are bringing their kids. We welcomed Chris Sant as our new Director of Religious Education and look forward to getting to know Chris and his family. We expect an exciting year for our young people. So where do we go from here? We keep coming back and coming back to our fellowship. We recommit ourselves to our children. We pay our pledges and offer our time and talent. We look forward to playing euchre and making pasties. All of us are changed by the experience we have shared since the pandemic hit, each person in a different way. We all need downtime and healing, but we keep coming back saying, what can I do? Who needs a little love? I need a little love. Let's celebrate us. What more can I learn? How can we do the work we are covenanted to do? Thank you for the patience and grace you have offered Reverend Eric and the board. I bow in deepest gratitude. Now we will hear from Tim Wagner with his treasurer's report.
Okay. Thank you, Beth. That was very nice. I'd like to provide a little bit of a summary. You've already seen a fair bit of financial information this year. The stewardship drives packet has a lot of information about where our money comes from, where our money goes. In the annual meeting report, you can find more detail in the treasurer's report, but I just want to summarize a few events and highlight some from 2021. So budget status is still in good shape. We received actually more like 89% of pledge payments thus far this year, and they're coming in at a very nice clip. So we're going to be in good shape at the end of the year on pledges. Fundraisers, Sunday offerings, and rental income, on the other hand, is going to be down substantially. We had a very good auction in the spring, but rental income has been zero, and we have not been able to do any other fundraisers yet this year. But with all of this, pledges are going to pay for normally about 85% of the budget. This year, it's probably more like 91% of the budget. Income, though, still exceeds our expenses year to date substantially, and you can see that's because our expenses are down so much because of this global pandemic. So unfortunately, we have to isolate and stay apart. Sorry about that. Thought I hit share. Expenses are still below budget, but we are able to maintain a good financial status throughout. I'll give you a second to read the rest of that since I didn't share it earlier. A little bit of update on our financial pillars. The budget checking account has roughly $30,000 in there. Budget reserves in very good shape as well. We could pay for the rest of the year if we had to from that. Major maintenance and replacement fund has fluctuated wildly this year because of all the projects we've been doing. So don't trust that number. It is not we have not fully accounted for all the projects that have been going on. The opportunity fund is healthy. Reverend Eric can use this for unbudgeted and unexpected items such as reopening after the COVID-19 lets up. So we hope that happens one day. But it was used, for instance, to pay for, sorry, I've got a cat here trying to get on the screen, to pay for our air purifiers for the building and so forth. The endowment fund is one of the 5 pillars, but we're going to have a separate presentation from the endowment committee after this. So financially, cash-wise, we are in good shape. But as Beth alluded, we've gone through and performed a number of projects this year, and that really is it's an extraordinary accomplishment. Roughly $80,000 spent on roof replacement. We did the first section of the roof in 2020, but we're able to complete the whole project, the other final 2 sections this year. Replaced 3 furnaces, restained the fellowship building with some siding repair, got a new dishwasher, which is currently being installed. Replaced the broken window. Rather than just the pane, we were able to replace the entire window, or had to. New window inserts for the lower level, which will make it more comfortable in the wintertime going forward. The air purifiers I mentioned, and of course a new playground, and I hope the kids are able to enjoy that in the coming years. So how did we fund all this? Funding started with a $20,000 grant for the roof, and I thank my wife Janelle Dombeck for putting time into requesting that grant. About $19,400 came from endowment for roof and furnaces, as well as some for the playground. The major maintenance and replacement fund did provide quite a bit for all of these projects. There were also some private donations to the playground, and from our 2019 capital drive for the roof, we finally applied that toward actual roofing replacement. So lots of different ways that we were able to find the money. With the fellowship closed and people available to do the work, we were able to bring this together. So take a look when you come back to the fellowship. Look at the nice new stain job on it, and new roof and so forth. So just one reminder on pledges. Pledges are coming in very well for the new people. If you don't know, there are lots of options on how to pay pledges: cash, check, direct deposits. We've got people sending checks from their IRA, from charitable funds. PayPal is available, and occasionally someone will drop us a stock certificate. So lots of different ways to keep this going. And that's all from me. So I will stop sharing. And
Before
to-
you announce, Tim, before you announce Alicia, I just want to take a second and acknowledge Building and Grounds under Patricia Callahan's leadership and with the help of Sandy Hay as our sexton for accomplishing a lot of the things that were on that list.
Absolutely. And Patricia does have a very nice report in the annual meeting report as well. So go there and take a look. Okay, then I'd like to introduce Alicia Toisen for stewardship to read that report. Thank you.
All right. So stewardship, I wanted to take the time. Our report's quite small because we're tasked with, doing the pledge drive and getting all those pledges in. And I'm happy to say that we have met our pledge total. We just kind of squeaked over the line. So certainly, if you have not turned in a pledge form, don't let this dissuade you from turning that in. We would love have any outstanding pledges turned in. But I think some people who increased their pledge total, some that we got in kind of towards the end there, but we did kind of, get over that last little bit, and it's super exciting. I think that, our committee worked on this year was putting together a living document that is on a Google Doc that can be shared and edited. So next year's committee will have kind of standard operating procedures to go by. So if you are wanting to find a committee home to give time to the fellowship in a way that really pays back, literally, consider joining the stewardship committee next year. It's a great place to talk to a lot of people and really make a big impact. So, and now you have some instructions that are in this really nice document that we put together, so it should be relatively smooth. So, but thank you everyone, and thank you to my team who helped, because everyone who was on the committee, Craig, Fred, Maxine, Marlene, myself, Chris, and then our help from Tom and Karen. I mean, it takes, a group effort to do it. So thank you to everyone. We really appreciate it.
Most definitely. Thank you all so much. And now we will hear from Jim Fallender, who will give the report from the Endowment Committee.
Greetings, everybody. Let me summarize some of the things that are in the written report, but also add a few details that were not in the written part. Just a reminder that the endowment fund is a special asset of the fellowship, which was initiated many, many years ago by a contribution from Millie Irons. And over the years, its value has grown a lot, both because of additional contributions and from investments. And as of the start of this month, start of October, we had $434,166 in the fund. The people managing both the investments and with a lot of advice from the board and others, the fund itself include our co-chairs, Tom Bailey and me. Also on the committee are Roy Wedge, Judy Donahue, Karen Roth, and our newest member, Speed Malecki. The fund is being managed to grow in value, but also to use some of the income and gains to help pay for special fellowship projects. And over the years, over $101,000 have come out of the fund to pay for these special projects. In the past 3 years, as you heard partly from Tim, $30,000 was used for the parking lot, $17,000 for the roof and furnaces, and $2,000 for the playground equipment. Since Millie's initial contribution, much additional money has been contributed. Some have asked to remain anonymous or have not responded to my question about whether they wanted to be anonymous or not. But the following contributors over the last 2 years have said we could mention their names. These included people on the management of the fund itself, the Bailey family, Fallender family, a lot of others, Celia Jones, the Carlson family, Judy Donahue, she's on the committee also, the Barth family, Dot Hornsby, Sandra Berger, the King family, and all of the contributions, whether they were big or small, are much appreciated. And if anyone would like to make a contribution now or in the coming year, we certainly would welcome those contributions. So see me or see anybody on the committee.
Oh, thank you, Jim. We really appreciate your stewardship of the committee on this. Okay, it's time to move on to the report from the nominating committee and the election of officers for 2022. To introduce to you John Van Riggenmorter from our amazing nominating committee. And he will introduce our slate of candidates. Take it away.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. Excellent. Yep. My name is John Van Riggenmorter. Been a member for a few years now. And happy to present a full slate of nominees for the upcoming 2022 year. But before we get to that, I wanted to say a few thank yous. First to the other members of the nominating committee. Doug Barth and Alicia Toyson, you guys were great. I don't know what I'm going to do with my Tuesday nights without meeting with you guys. You'll leave a huge hell. No, but no, in all seriousness, it was great. So thanks for making it a fun process. I also wanted to thank the board members, not only for those who've served for a few years and are outgoing. Thank you for your service, but also for the guidance. You know, a lot of us are relatively new within the last 5 years. So we had a lot of questions for you guys about what the positions are like and you know, what the responsibilities. So you guys were very helpful in helping us understand all that. So thank you guys. All right, so getting right into the list of nominees. If before I get into these, there are a couple different places you can read information on them. Hopefully you've already had a chance to read them. They're in the newsletter and then also on the website. So starting with nominating committee, near and dear to our hearts is Janelle Dombeck. The next nominee for member at large is Lisa Janetsky. Secretary will be Chris Nakamura, and Tom Bailey is our last nominee. He's nominated for a second term as president-elect.
Now we get into the official parliamentarian type of language. So bear with me on this one. I will now entertain a motion to accept the slate as it was presented. Please raise your hand using the participant icon if you wish to so move, and Wendy will call on you.
Hello, Carol. Do you want to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to move to accept the slate as presented.
Thank you, Carol. Please raise your hand using the participant icon if you wish to second the motion to accept the slate as presented, and Wendy will call on you.
Yes, I second the motion.
Thank you. The motion to accept the slate as presented has been made and seconded. Are there any in opposition? Wendy, do you see anybody?
No.
Okay, we will now vote on the slate of officers as presented. It was 100% yes, thank you. All right, I would like to thank the nominating committee. It was a tough year for you, and we're just so thankful for your hard work and perseverance. And I don't even know how to begin to thank the members who stepped up to serve next year. things are so wild and weird, and that you're willing to give of your time it's really awesome. And we are in deep gratitude to you guys. So thank you so much. Okay. Now let's move on to the money part, to the 2022 budget proposal. And please give your attention again to Tim Wagner, who will present the budget for the coming year.
Just want to run through the budget briefly before we vote on it, and I'm just going to kind of hit the overall sections. Now you can notice that we have $210,000 slated for next year's operating budget, which is very, very close to the $209,000 that was constituted last year's budget. However, we do plan to spend another $19,000, and I want you to hold on to that thought. We're going to get to that when we get down to a lower section. So we go through where we plan to spend the money, starting with administration, kind of a moderate increase. There is an increase in technology support, telephone, internet, web, and Zoom. As you might expect, you can see postage is way down. We're in the 21st century now, so a lot of those costs are going to probably continue to rise over the years. And we're doing a lot more with our Zoom conferences and so forth. The social justice team, the LOVE team, will remain roughly the same. Music is going to go up primarily due to raising our minimum wage to living wage to the $15 an hour that we want to do for all of our employees this year. It was said the best, I think, in the stewardship campaign literature, said this budget was developed using requests from the ministry teams and board committee chairs. It was negotiated by the finance committee, nominating committee, and to approved by the board of directors. Really was to focus on bringing our employees into a situation where they can afford to live on this job, or at least partly. Okay, so music has gone up based on employee costs primarily. In building and grounds, you can see we do have a little bit of addition. Church mutual insurance is gone up. It went up 18% this year. It's slated to go up again next year. That is primarily due to building costs, labor and materials that have gone up due to the pandemic, partially or primarily. So hopefully that will come back down in years to come. We get back down. There are a number of other fluctuations, all kind of natural type things. We get down here to the very bottom of this category, and you'll see this $19,000 here negative for building and grounds. What that is, as you remember back last spring, we ended the year 2020 with a substantial surplus, about $50,000. We put $40,000 of that into the major maintenance fund and another $10,000 or so into the opportunity fund. Well, when the part of that was to pay for the roof that we were planning to install. As the year progressed and we found out we could get this Dow Foundation loan or grant, and then ended up getting the grant, we realized, well, okay, there's more in there than we need. Then fast forward to July and August, when we started looking at the new year's budget, we realized that if we wanted to do some of the things that we wanted to do, like raise the minimum wage that we pay, we were going to need substantially more money for next year. We had this $19,000 to $20,000 chunk of money that we said, well, building and grounds could still use that, but we don't have any identified projects to use it on right now. It really would help to cushion our budget for 2022 so that we don't have to ask a whole lot more from the pledge funds and stewardship campaign. So we ended up moving that back to the building and grounds budget. So it'll offset $19,000 of the building and grounds budget for next year. We just have to remember at the end of 2022, when we come into the stewardship drive, that we will need to raise that additional $19,000 next year to bring us up to where our budget is today for 2022, and proposing, if we kept it even the same for 2023. So if you need more information on that, give me a call. Okay, so that is a change from years past that we haven't done before. Communications is going to be roughly the same. Denominational is a moderate increase. You can see that the UUA dues is up, and we are on a progression. It's going up a little bit every year. Member engagement is the same. Worship has gone up substantially due to visiting minister fees and travel. And so we do want to bring in, and we have been starting to bring in a lot more people from around the country, at least virtually, and there are fees that are associated with that. Also, worship supplies, Soul Matters subscription, you can see was added in there. Okay, pastoral care is roughly the same. Minister is up slightly for a cost of living increase for Eric. Clerical is up again. We wanted to bring up to $15 an hour. Children's RE is essentially the same. Nursery care is up due to the employee raises. And Director of Religious Ed will be up for that same reason. Although this is more of a cost of living type thing. Other expenses are substantially down. You can see unfortunately, we did not have a big ordination party last year, and probably not planning to do that next year. So that came out of the budget. Are there any questions about the budget at this point?
You can raise your participant hands and Wendy will call on you if you have a question. I have a question, Tim.
Sure.
The UUA dues going up every year, those are based on our budget now, correct?
Correct. Now, they still do need for us to tell them how many members we have. I'm not sure what they're doing with that information, but it is a formula primarily based on the budget.
Okay. And then so even though our budget is staying essentially the same as last year, they may be reconfiguring what they're charging to UUA.
They may be, yes.
I mean, right. I'm saying, like, if our budgets are basically the same, why did the dues go up? Which might be a question that you can't answer.
Yeah. Well, there was, I think they're looking at their formula, and they're trying to get everyone to follow the entire formula, but they didn't make a net jump in 1 year. Okay. So it's gradually going up year after year till we hit that point. But I think we are on track for what they're requesting.
And Dot just put in the chat box, it used to be based, I think, primarily on, or all on membership and numbers, and that has changed in the last couple of years.
That's correct.
That's correct.
And I had another question, Tim, and it's just a technicality. When you were reading the text about how the budget was put together, did you say that the nominating committee was in on that?
No, I meant stewardship, and then what I read was not from stewardship either. So I'm sorry on both counts.
Just checking. Okay, that's all I have. Anybody else have questions?
Yes, Lewis and Rosie Mulford has a question. Please state your question, Lewis.
Hi, I wanted to know, what is the subscription for Soul Matters? What is that?
I can answer that.
I'll let Eric take it.
So Soul Matters is a piece of the UUA devoted to worship. They put together materials for congregations to use for worship. They set a monthly theme that is very helpful like a year in advance so we can lay out our services. They've got reading and songs and stories and you name it. It's a very useful resource for not just me, but our lay leaders in worship as well, to develop their Sunday services.
Okay.
Sure. Is there anybody else who has
And,
any questions?
And I would like to recognize the Finance Committee, Tom Bailey, Fred Thomas, Vicky Rothar, who is unfortunately leaving us very soon. Yes. Pete Carlson has just joined, and Eric has been with us almost all the year as well. So thank those folks for the time spent putting the budget together.
Absolutely. So with no more questions, one last time, okay. I will now entertain a motion to accept the 2022 budget as it was presented. Please raise your hand using the participant icon if you wish to so move, and Wendy will call on you.
I'd like to motion that we accept the budget as presented.
Thank you, Louis. Please raise your hand using the participant icon if you wish to second the motion to accept the 2022 budget as presented. Wendy will call on you.
I motion to second.
Thank you, Connie. The motion to accept the 2022 budget as it was presented has been made and seconded. Is anyone opposed? No one is opposed. We will now vote on the proposed 2022 budget. We have 100% acceptance, that's 52 votes, to accept the budget as proposed. Thank you so much. And I want to add my thanks to the Finance Committee and Reverend Eric for their hard work in putting this budget together. It could not have been an easy year to do this, so thank you so much. Now, for the fun part, Chris Nakamura will present the 2021 Unsung Hero Award.
Our 2021 Unsung Hero has put 1,000% of themselves into the fellowship this year in order to keep us, in order to help us through the pandemic, so that we can thrive as we move forward into our future together. The member has kept us sane by helping us make sure we had music capabilities during our virtual services and in transition, and organized and directed our virtual choir, purchasing the sheet music, delivered to the homes of choir members, and then recently donated it to all of the choir music library. As if that weren't enough, they put in a tremendous amount of extra work for the playground, a very unselfish gesture, and took the lead role on that project when we needed it. Yes, it's an employee, but has gone far, far beyond the job description, exceeding our wildest expectations. This year's Unsung Hero is Sandy Hay. Sandy, thank you so much for all that you do for the fellowship.
And
there we go. There we go.
oh, Catherine, let's see your face. Do you want to unmute Sandy? I don't think you can do it yourself, Sandy. Wendy, will you unmute Sandy?
I'm trying to find.
Okay.
Got him.
There we go.
Well, highly unexpected. I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, it's a labor of love. The choir thing was something that, as most of you are aware, Back in March of 2020, I joined a virtual choir that was made up of several thousand people from around the world, which was the inspiration for our virtual choir. Our virtual choir, though, couldn't have been done without the choir members themselves, so I want to pay tribute to them. They were very skeptical in the beginning, especially when it came down to recording your voices. The realization that you sound horrible when all there is your voice. No music, no nothing, just your voice. But when when the technology people, Sarah and us Warren, put it all together, it made a world of difference. And I think if you've heard any of our recordings, you'll realize that we may have sounded horrible by ourselves, but as a group, we were wonderful. And I want to thank everybody who participated in that. In terms of the playground, it was a humongous effort, and there were probably 20 or 30 other people who have participated in the construction of the playground. And every day when I come to work, it's really kind of a joy to pull into my parking spot and look out there, see the culmination of our efforts. So again, I want to thank all the people who joined in the construction, whether it was for 5 minutes or 5 days or 5 weeks. It was certainly a team effort to get it accomplished. Thank you all so much for this honor. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
What'd you get?
Yeah, what'd you get?
See my travel mug?
All right, beautiful.
It's a beautiful travel mug with a treble clef on it, which means music.
We couldn't find bass clef.
That's good. You didn't look hard enough.
Yeah. Yep.
And then it says, congratulations, Sandy, and thank you for all the time, energy, and resources you've devoted to the UFM this year. We appreciate you, UUFoM congregation. And I appreciate all of you, and thank you so very much.
Now open the big one.
I'm getting ready to open it. I'm going to be like a kid, though, and just rip it open.
Rip it. A box.
Well, I'm trying. I got to have a knife or something. Oh, wow.
Oh, look at that. Awesome.
Yes. And I needed one of these. I certainly did. I can put my laptop computer in it for sure. Thank you all very, very much.
And your music.
And your music. And my music.
Thank you, Sandy. We love you so much, and we're so grateful.
Thank you. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know.
So, my friends, the work of the meeting is almost done. But before we close, does anybody have any comments, questions, suggestions? Raise your hand now or hold your peace at least for a while. So after we officially adjourn the meeting, Reverend Eric will extinguish the chalice. But first, I'd like to read some words that have inspired me. This is the chalice lighting from our last board meeting. This was written by Kimberly Quinn Johnson, And in it, she quotes the great poet June Jordan. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are not perfect, but we are perfectly fitted for this day. We are not without fault, but we can be honest to face our past as we chart a new future. We are the ones we've been waiting for. May we be bold and courageous to chart that new future. May we have faith in a future that is not known. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Okay, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Please raise your hand in the participant section if you wish to so move.
I would like to make a motion to end the meeting.
Please raise your hand using the participant icon if you wish to second the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, I would like to second ending the meeting. But I did want to make a comment, but I couldn't find out how to raise my hand.
Oh, okay.
We eliminated a lot of people on our friends list when we were paying for each of them to the main organization. Now that they've changed how they charge us, we somehow should become a little more lenient to keeping friends on our list.
Dan, it's on the board's radar. We need to make a bylaw change in how we are categorizing our members. And so know that that will be happening.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. And you are seconding the motion to adjourn the meeting?
Sure.
Okay. A motion to adjourn the meeting has been made and seconded. Is anyone opposed to adjourning the meeting? Okay. The business meeting is now adjourned. Reverend Eric, will you extinguish the chalice, please?
Chalice is extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and the hearts and the souls of each one of us. Let us carry the flame with us and share it with those we know, with those we love, and most especially with those we have yet to meet. Thank you all.
Thank you all for coming, for everything that you do.